Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our special broadcast, Education in America, Parents Playbook. I'm Lydia Hu. Fox Business is taking a look at what you need to know about education in America and seeking out a winning playbook for the future of America. Benjamin Franklin famously said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. But the state of education today could lead one to wonder whether the country is making an investment at all. The nation ranks 9th in the world for reading, 16th in science, and we will get to just how bad it is when it comes to math. Cell phones wreak havoc in our classrooms. Students are distracted. Most recent data shows 12 million kids were chronically absent from school, and teachers, they're not showing up for class either. 67% of public schools anticipate multiple teaching vacancies this school year alone, up from 56% a year ago. With those issues and more, maybe it's no surprise that more parents demand school choice. We talked to some about the battle for education freedom.
Just being able to, have teachers that are willing to teach children in different ways and what's best for them has been life-changing. And I think it's going to be great.
Brett Campbell and his 3 kids start the new school year with a new routine, homeschool.
And I don't think it'd be something that we could necessarily afford if we were having to do it on our own.
Campbell is using Florida's education savings account. It allows all students to use tax dollars to pay for education outside the public school system. More than a dozen states have adopted similar school choice policies over the past few years, and parents say their kids thrive.
We were able to get her into a mainstreamed Montessori, private Montessori, and also get her one-on-one speech therapy, and she has thrived.
But as momentum for school choice grows, so does the criticism. Amid concerns about funding for public schools, the teachers union in Florida says voters reject school choice and want public schools to be fully funded instead. They point out local school board candidates backed by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis lost local elections last week. But parents in states without school choice are fighting for options.
This really is something that crosses partisan lines. It comes down to our children's lives, respect for parent agency, and parents, quite honestly, are tired of being used as political pawns.
And state leaders promise to deliver as the Republican Party makes the school choice promise.
Republican governors fought back for a parent's right to choose their own child's education. President Trump was right when he said that school choice is the civil rights issue of our time.
To help us better understand the issues confronting education in America, I am pleased to welcome to the program former Secretary of Education under the Trump administration, Betsy DeVos. Secretary DeVos, I want to start off this important conversation with you. We just went through our story kind of explaining how school choice has really had a lot of victories over the past couple of years. There are roughly a dozen states in our country now that have universal school choice. But as those victories are counted, the criticism of school choice also becomes louder, and we're really hearing that come from Florida. You hear public school advocates and teachers unions pointing to the numbers of students that are leaving public school. It's upwards of 50,000 by some estimates. And now there's concern that some public schools might close and close soon. They say that's exactly what is wrong with school choice. And I'm curious, Secretary, how do you see it?
Well, Lydia, first of all, thanks for bringing a light to this very, very important topic, which is top of mind for parents as their children go back to school this fall. The reality is that our government education system has not been serving millions and millions of students for many, many years now. And that really came to light during COVID for more people than ever before. The fact is that roughly 70% of our kids in government schools can't read at grade level in 4th grade. They continue across the board to do poorly on every front. We don't do well vis-a-vis our international peers. And yet we continue to hear the refrain that all we need is more money, we need more resources, we need more control. And the fact is that unions have had too much control for too long. And now parents are finally taking things into their own hands. And states like Florida are giving them the method and the methodology and the mechanisms to be able to do that through education freedom in the form of education savings accounts. And they can make the choices that are right for their children that will work for them. So when the public school system says, well, we're being denied money, it's not about money for a system. It's about money for individual students and their education. And who better to decide what is best for their children than parents? So education freedom, controlled and directed by parents, is what's going to change the trajectory of our kids in their K-12 years.
Secretary DeVos, I'm just so grateful for you to taking the time to talk to us about the school choice movement and how this all comes together to empowering our parents to give our kids the very best future. Thank you so much, Secretary DeVos. Let's welcome to the program our panel of parents. We have New Jersey resident and mother of a homeschool child, Angelique Orapel. We also have New York resident and mother of a child of 5 children, actually, all of them in charter school, Benta Jadama. And New Jersey resident and father of 2 in public school, Damian Albanese. Thank you to each of you for being with us this evening. I want to talk to you about school choice. We saw a lot of gains across the country in the school choice movement, but each of you resides in a district where you don't have universal school choice. So Damian, let's start with you. You have 2 kids, both of them in public school. Would you exercise school choice if you were able to have access or support from the state if you wanted to send your child to private school or explore a homeschool option and have the support of state tax dollars?
I'd like to have the option. The option would be amazing, but we moved to Middletown specifically for the school district because we heard, and I grew up in that area my entire life, but we always knew that Middletown had some of the best schooling in New Jersey. But it would be nice to have that option. I mean, right now it's just public school or so many thousands of dollars a year for private school.
Angelique, tell us about your son. He's in homeschool, and you've had a unique perspective of using both the homeschool, scenario in Arizona, where there is universal school choice, and you're able to use state tax dollars to support your homeschool mission, and also New Jersey, where you don't. So you're going out of pocket. How much harder is it to homeschool in New Jersey than it was in Arizona?
Arizona was easier. When I just called, enrolled, and like, okay, we're gonna take your son. I received a big box. I have colors, crayons, watercolor, everything from art to STEM, books. Now, when I thought it's the same thing with New Jersey, I started calling. I need to put my son in homeschool. Oh, you have to pay. And I've been researching. So they keep on telling me, what state are you from? New Jersey. Okay, so you have to pay. So this is a big difference, but I still decided to put Ethan in homeschool. It's because I am watching over his mental ability and his emotional stability.
And you're able to keep him at home in a scenario, in a setting where he's able to focus on his curriculum that you're providing for him. But gosh, it would be such a difference to you if the dollars supporting his education in public school would follow him and support him in homeschool, where he's also thriving under your watchful eye. Thank you for that excellent point. Well, something frustrating, many teachers, phones in the classroom. But what should be done about it? We dial in on this hot topic and visit a school cracking down in its own way. But first, we've got a quiz for you. Take out your pencils. At what age did the youngest student earn a bachelor's degree? 8, 10, 13, or 15? That answer when we return. Going to break, we asked, at what age did the youngest student earn a bachelor's degree? The answer is 10 years old. This is Michael Carney. He obtained his BA in anthropology from the University of South Alabama in 1994. He earned his high school degree at age 6. Wow, good for him. Now to a major issue that's getting a lot of attention: phones in class. More schools across the country are dialing up the bans, and while many agree that phones are a distraction for students, banning them is no easy task. We visited a public school in New Jersey that is about to roll out its new restrictions.
We've heard from teachers that the phones are a very big distraction.
For students in Milltown Township, New Jersey, the new school year brings a new phone policy. Elementary and middle schoolers must keep phones in backpacks or lockers all day. High schoolers must store phones out of sight during class.
We wanted to help these students be in an environment that's most conducive to learning.
Now, mounting evidence shows phones and social media harm youth mental health and impede learning. Nearly a dozen states are taking action. Some mandate schools enact restrictions, others incentivize measures. Without a requirement in the Garden State, Middletown School Board members adopt their phone restriction with optimism.
We really just hope that everyone kind of embraces the culture of change.
An informal Facebook poll conducted by a Middletown parent group shows most are receptive and few even want phones kept at home.
I would say that I'm glad that our kids can still have their phones on them, silenced in their pockets.
In the face of growing momentum for new phone bans, there's at least one person who's pushing back. I'm pleased to welcome Los Angeles County School Board member Scott Schmerelson, one of the two board members who voted against the ban in Los Angeles. Mr. Schmerelson, welcome to the program. Tell us why you voted against the phone ban there in LA.
Thank you, Lydia. Thank you for inviting me. You know, everybody matters in the Los Angeles Unified School District. The opinions of the teachers, of the parents, of the kids, of the classified staff matter. And we have a policy right now in Los Angeles Unified School District that says cell phones must be powered off and put away during instructional time. And what we have to do is revisit this policy. Don't create a new one. Revisit this policy and have our stakeholders involved in their opinions. When I say stakeholders, I mean teachers and students and parents and classified staff. Everyone has to have their reason for having cell phones turned off, powered off, and put away. You know, LA has lots of problems. We have earthquakes, we have fires, we have lockdowns. Parents need to know that their kids are safe. All parents need to do is have their child say, the text, Mom, Dad, I'm okay, and turn that phone off. At lunchtime and at recess, they are free to use their phones.
And there was actually a recent survey from the National Center for Education Statistics that shows most public schools say they have a policy, 76% of them. So that would seem to suggest that this is more of an issue of enforcement. What is hard about enforcing a cell phone policy?
What is hard is making sure that all stakeholders have a say in this policy. And if they do disagree with certain parts of the policy, we meet together as a group and figure out how this has to work.
Mr. Schmerelson, thank you so much for your time on this very important topic. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you again very soon. Binta, I want to ask you, because I understand that you are supportive of a phone ban. Are you okay? Are you comfortable with the idea of your kids? You have 5 kids, all of them in charter school, none of them being able to text you during the day if they're not able to access their phone. Is that okay?
I'm still communicate with the school. What I mean, I'm communicating to school. As far as they came in the school, you can find out that they in school. If they're late, you're gonna be. No, if they're absent, you're gonna get an alarm. Nowadays, kids be on their phone during classes. It's really distract them.
Well, up next, grading in the name of equity. But first, we've got another quiz. Where do American students rank in math? Is it 5th, 28th, 34th, or 48th? That answer when we return. Going to break, we asked, where do American students rank in the world in math? The answer is 34th. Singapore, number 1, followed by China. Some push so-called equitable grading to get America caught up. But critics say the policy is only lowering expectations. Promoted by educational consultants, these grading policies encourage teachers to avoid giving zeros, commit to minimum grades, and give more weight to more recent performance. It also calls for eliminating extra credit and allows what can be the endless making up of missed assignments. There are also no penalties to the student's grade for cheating. But there are critics like Adam Tyner of the Fordham Institute. He says these policies ultimately hurt students. And I'm pleased to say that Adam Tyner is now joining us in this program. Adam, why are schools lowering standards with so-called equitable grading policies?
Well, these grading reforms are premised on the idea of making grades more accurate and making them fairer. And to be fair, some of the reforms, like using rubrics for grading, which can help teachers to use a consistent standard for every student, can be good at eliminating bias. Eliminating extra credit for things like the proverbial box of Kleenex that you bring to class or something could also help to eliminate bias and make grading more fair. But in a lot of other cases, as you were mentioning, the effect of these equitable grading policies is actually to lower standards, to lower expectations for students. And there's a lot of research that shows that when you lower student grading standards, students end up learning less.
What can parents do? What should they know about equitable grading, and what can they do if it comes to a classroom there near them and they think this is not right for my child?
Well, I think the most important thing that I can say as a researcher is that there's not a shred of evidence that these policies that lower standards for students lead to more student learning.
Adam Tyner, really great points. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
My pleasure.
As we explore how we are preparing our youth for the future, let's turn to the trades. We had the pleasure of visiting one nonprofit based here in New York that is on a mission to make sure the city's young girls know how to swing a hammer and do so much more. Most kids pack sunscreen and a water bottle for summer camp.
The outline of the shape. You basically paint the shape, or whatever shape you pick. Whatever shape you pick.
But Parker James and Camila Johnson Bay bring a hard hat and paintbrush. They are enrolled with Tools and Tiaras, a nonprofit that teaches trade skills to girls.
If you have a job or a career, let it be something that you love to do.
Girls as young as 6 get hands-on lessons in carpentry, electrical, plumbing, and confidence for life.
Every single day I wake up and I'm like,
you know, I could go into electrical too.
Dip it on both sides. Make sure it's on both sides.
Okay.
You want to flip the brush again.
And pull it towards you. Girls want to pull the paintbrush towards you.
How's that?
Perfect.
I think that's not so bad.
Yeah. People think that we can't do it, but I've been killing it as a plumber for almost 30 years.
Tools and Tiaras is the brainchild of Judaline Cassidy, an immigrant from Trinidad who became a plumber when college was out of reach for her here in America. Now Cassidy is using her success to show the next generation a career in trades could empower them too.
I want people to open up their eyes and stop looking down on us and think that we didn't go to college because we wasn't smart. No, we choose to help build. And that's what we do every day.
Okay, it is time for one more quiz. In 2022, the most recent year that we have data, what was the average dollar amount spent per public school student? Think you know the answer? Find out how much when we return. The average amount spent per public school student in 2022, the answer, $15,600. That's an 8.9% increase from 2021. Well, as we approach the end of our special program tonight, I just want to check back in with our panel of parents. You know, we're here about to start a brand new school year, Damien. And as we're about to embark on this school year, what do you think is the most important issue that is facing education in America?
I think the most important thing is parents need to realize that we're in control. It doesn't work the other way around. We're not told what to do for our children. We need to tell the school what we're going to do for the children, and then they have to adapt. We don't adapt to them, they need to adapt to us.
Angelique, do you agree with that? Is that the number one issue facing education in America, giving parents back that control?
I do. Yes, I do agree. And then I really hope that, they can have my homeschool for free, like for public schools too.
It's that fight for school choice. You can take it up in New Jersey. And Binta, finally to you, what do you think is the number one issue facing schools in America?
The same thing he said. We agree with that.
Empowering the parents.
Empowering that.
And that is exactly what we've tried to do tonight with this special broadcast. So thank you to each one of you for your time tonight, for joining in this really important conversation about the state of education in America. And thanks to all of you at home for watching Fox Business's special broadcast, Education in America, Parents Playbook. I'm Lydia Hu. Thank you for joining us.